From a bar learned his fate today. Richard Peterson was sentenced for the 2021 murder of Amanda Jo vangrinven in Isanti County today. Here's more from the courtroom.
Much of the conflict, hardships, and pain, anger, addiction, and vulnerability that individuals both perpetrate and suffer in our society is brought to be addressed in a court like this. And those are the issues most difficult to resolve, particularly on a day like today, a day that should not be. Today, more than most any other day, the concept of justice is complicated. For Amanda's family, her friends, her community, 24 years in prison for the defendant does not feel like justice for her life lost. However, in order to proceed with sentencing today, the court must sentence the defendant within the sentencing guideline grid, which is also a part of the plea agreement. To sentence outside the guidelines would be an abuse of discretion by this court and reversible error. I know that many speak of closure on a day like today. I don't really know what that means. I do hope that this process today, as difficult as it is, at least brings Amanda's family, her friends, and her community some peace. Mr. Peterson, I had a chance to review the pre-sentence investigation report. I know that you have a 0 criminal history score, that there's a description of your military service, your community service prior to August 5th of 2021. But on that night, you committed a heinous act that took the life of an innocent young woman, a woman you were entrusted to safely see to her home. You lied to police and frustrated the search for her, resulting in more agony for her family, for her friends, for her community, as they frantically searched for her. You callously buried her on your property, head first, in a shallow grave. Mr. Peterson, while acknowledged, your prior life of service does not mitigate what you did on August 5th of 2021. And you will be sentenced accordingly today. Based upon the record at the plea hearing, I find that the defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to a jury trial, and he entered a plea of guilty to the charge under count 1. Based upon his testimony at that plea hearing, the court finds beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant caused the death of Amanda vangrinven by gunshot on August 5th, 2021 in Isanti County. The intent element was submitted to the court on an Alfred basis. The defendant acknowledged reviewing the state's evidence and acknowledged that if the defendant submitted its evidence to the jury would be substantially likely to convict the defendant beyond a reasonable doubt of all elements of the offense, including the intent element. The defendant acknowledged the terms of the plea agreement, which call for a dismissal of count 2 and a commitment to the Commissioner of Corrections for a period of 285 months. The court, based upon the defendant's testimony at that hearing and incorporating the facts articulated in the amended complaint, found at that hearing that if the evidence was submitted to a jury would be substantially likely to find that the defendant intentionally caused the death of Amanda vangrinven by proof beyond a reasonable doubt. The court finds a factual basis to support the defendant's plea of guilty to count 1. Mr. Peterson, you will rise for your sentence. Richard Melvin Peterson II, based upon your plea of guilty, you are hereby convicted of the offense of murder in the second degree with intent not premeditated. Based upon that conviction, you are hereby committed to the Commissioner of Corrections for a period of 285 months. You will serve a minimum term in custody of 190 months and a maximum term of supervised release of 95 months. You are advised that the Commissioner of Corrections may extend your term of imprisonment to the total executed sentence if you violate any disciplinary rules in custody or any rules of supervised release.